Hey everyone, this is Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are building the Boku no Hero dorm building. For any fans of the show, I did use episode 51 and the wiki as reference. So for every room that we do see, I have made sure that it is, as close as I can get it to how it was in the show. And for some of the other areas, I just kind of made them up based on what I know. And as for the Sims, this is an actual Sims dorm, and it is available on the gallery. Right now, I am getting the shape down. This building was the literal bane of my existence. It included 5 hours of recording time and some time outside of that. I think that my mistake was trying to do it all in one sitting, but I did end up taking a break and coming back to it, and it ended up much better, I think, for that. So in the front here, I made there be stairwells where the elevators were. I know that apartments and stuff have elevators in this game, but I am unsure of how to effectively use them, and I did still want this dorm to be functional. So I made them stairwells, and you'll see me fiddle around with them some more a little later because I have to fit two sets of stairs next to each other. And also, copy and pasting rooms is giving me nightmares after this. But the statistics are pretty similar to the actual dorm in the show. The only difference is that The Sims only has a maximum of 4 floors, whereas the dorm itself is 5 floors tall. So what I did was I moved the girls all down a floor because there are not enough girls to fill up the dorm building. And I put the remaining boys on the top floor, the ones that would have been on the 5th floor. And then because I made the building a little bigger because of that, and so there are 5 rooms on each floor of each wing instead of 4 like in the show. This video ended up being about a half an hour and also crashed my iMovie a million times. So I think that it turned out well. I also included in those 2 bridges, the glass bridges. You can see them from the back in the show, but I couldn't tell if they were in the front or the back. My assumption is the front, considering there is a front area. But also, since the wings are supposed to be separated by gender, I was confused as to why there would be a bridge connecting each wing. I feel like some students would take advantage of that. But, maybe Aizawa is keeping an eye on them. Right here, what I did was build this little house off to the side, which has all of the wallpaper, flooring, doors, windows, etc., that I was going to need to use so that I wasn't going to have to switch back and forth between the reference picture over and over again. That was definitely a difficult thing for this, was that I had to edit out every time I looked at a reference picture, and that was cumbersome. But on the bright side, I am getting a second monitor for Christmas, so I am definitely going to utilize that so that we don't, editing me doesn't have such a hard time. So I'm just building in the columns that are on the side that hold up the roof. And I did not see any of these columns in the back, so they're only in the front. And that middle part is just a slightly darker brick. And it also struck me how few windows were actually here on this building, on the front anyway. But also you can see there, I just used some default items for I used the movie sign for the sign, and then um, a restaurant sign, because I was not going to actually put 1A listed out there. I don't have the patience to write out letters and little tiny objects. Kudos to the people who do. Here's that glass bridge. And I am realizing at this point in time that maybe instead of just copy and pasting a 4x6 square over and over, I should have actually built the room and then pasted it. Because you'll see me fiddle around with the balconies and then also the toilet room that is in each room and the wardrobe. So, that quickly becomes a me problem. Right here, the balcony that I first built there was not considered a room by the game. So I did have to just build a little one over here so that I could copy and paste it onto the building over and over again. This side was very easy. I do not know why the other side over here was so difficult. You can see it was a big struggle to get that first balcony on. And then I realized that I needed ceilings on each of these in order for them to go up to the next floor. Don't know why it didn't come up on the other side. We're just going to accept it and put windows on the inside. So, and then flooring in all the balconies. It's the same flooring as the ceiling. I mean, not the ceiling. Well, I guess it is the ceiling of the first floor, that like balcony that's not a balcony area. And then you'll see in the show and in the photos that the dorm is completely surrounded by what looks like a forest. So I just put trees everywhere, which is confusing because from afar it looks like all the dorms are just lined up next to each other. Not really sure how that works out, but we surrounded it with trees anyway. And then there is a courtyard in the backyard. We have not seen it, so I did just put a fountain back there and call it good. I had to fix this room that I messed up. And then we are going into the entryway. And I realized that I didn't kind of put a lowered entryway for people to take off their shoes, so I just changed the platforms there, which, got rid of all my windows. But, yeah, just some flooring. But as for the entryway, I did add in, um, you know, from the front door to the back door, there is, a lowered area. And then just, the horrendous green wallpaper that is in the show, and the endless amount of doors, which was horrific, and little door plaques with their names on them, if you imagine so. I tried to have them snap into place, and I ended up changing the doors 100 times, moving them around, moving the plaques around, just to make sure that everything fit with the bathroom and, looked uniform. Here is the furnishing of the entryway. I just put like a little globe light there. I figured it was, you know, thematic enough. Some places to hang jackets, some places to put shoes. I was thinking about putting the lockers, but I thought that might be more of an actual school building thing. So I just, treated it more like a house than like a school. What we do know about the building that we have not seen is that there is a laundry bath area. So that's on this side. Um, for some reason, I had a lot of trouble with the walls. As you could see there before, that the wall, I couldn't complete the wall without losing all my doors and windows. I had to drag it the last square there. If I had enough room, I would have put in 2 hot springs, but I only had enough room for 1, so they're going to have to share. I put 2 different shower rooms. I guess the hot spring is just for relaxing. It's not for bathing. So I put a boys shower room and a girls shower room. And those doors are so that, um, the opposite gender cannot enter the room. And they use these fun tiles we got from Snowy Escape. I thought that they were, fitting for a dorm. Maybe not a third-year dorm, but a first-year dorm. And then just some sinks, some laundry. Actually, I deleted the sinks. I can't remember if I added them back in. But they're showers. No, you know what? I did not add them back in. Okay, there's like one sink in this whole build. So I hope that the Sims don't all try to go there to wash their hands. Um, with Snowy Escape and, the more, I guess, normalized, like in Western areas at least, idea of having a toilet in a separate room. And I could be totally off base. Maybe just the American Sim players aren't as familiar with that practice, but the Sims still want to wash their hands even after using the special toilet that came with the game. So there's got to be a sink somewhere. And there is no sink in their dorm rooms. So I don't know what's going to happen. This isn't quite play tested. I mean, I know for a fact that some of the rooms are unavailable to actually, function as rooms because of the stuff that I packed in them to make them match. But that's a tangent that I'm going off on. Well, the little seating area that we see in the show with the ugly green couches and the ugly green carpet, and then the little cafeteria area. I actually saw two different cafeteria areas in the show, one with two sets of tables next to each other and one with only one set of tables next to each other. And I'm not sure if that was supposed to be the same area or different areas, but I just put this seating area here. Maybe for all I know, there's another cafeteria area. It was kind of hard for me to tell, and we don't have a blueprint, so I just kind of winged it. And this is the moving of the doors slash bathroom debacle, where I realized that everything was out of place for where I wanted to put the toilets. And also, I was about to make the mistake of just putting an empty room down over and over again, but then I remembered that I'm going to copy and paste a little room with a toilet. And so that is what I chose to do. Instead, we did lose some windows in some places, but I think that that's okay because I went back at the end to make sure all the, wallpaper and windows was in the right place. There are empty rooms. I don't know if I said that because I only built the rooms that we saw in the show. So I made sure to leave some empty rooms if you want to build in there as well. So we are starting with Midoriya's room. And um, of course, it's full of All Might posters and All Might action figures. So that is a lot of fun. Actually, these first couple of rooms, this is kind of when I was losing steam. So I do redo some of these rooms, and you'll see pictures of those at the end because I couldn't figure out how to get my cheats to work. I was having trouble with the 9 cheat where you move objects up. For some reason, it kept like throwing me out into the water over the side of this build. So I had to kind of, do some sleuthing as to why that was happening. But next, we are going to the dorm room of Mr. Bellybutton Laser, aka Aoyama. And I mean, basically, the defining characteristic of this room is sparkles. Sparkle, 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 mirror, mirror, mirror. And then I just put some, um, yeah, so there's where my cheat wasn't working. So after a couple rooms, I get fed up with that and have to figure it out and then go back and fix things. But yeah, so just, some special lights. When that light turns on, it's kind of like almost like a disco light. So that's good. And then we move on into Tokoyami's room. It is very dark, so of course it doesn't look dark here. When you play the game, you can change the color light to purple. to match better. It's very gothic. I also included in quite a few of the rooms almost like a standard issue desk and dresser. So for the people who did not have the time or money to renovate their rooms before that episode, that's what they got. School issued. And now we're in Coda's room. And since he can talk to animals, I put, a pet bed and some like cute stuff from Nifty Knitting and a litter box. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a rabbit even in my first pet stuff, so that was a bummer. I just got that pack, so I don't really know a ton of what's in it yet. Just that there's a hamster, and apparently you can get like rabies from it or something. But yeah, I just included some pet stuff in here and some cute little wall decals before moving on into Kaminari's room. And honestly, I think that this one turned out poorly the first time I did it, so I did redo it. Um, yeah, I just kind of ran out of steam here. Couldn't figure out how to get the cheats just right, and you know, so I think that the second time around it turned out much better, and you'll see a picture of that towards the end. But for now, this is what I came up with on the first pass. He is one of the few people who actually put a TV in his room, so that was cool. Some students are smart in that way. I didn't have a TV in my room when I was that age. And then there was Ida's room, which is totally covered in books. He is a very excellent studier. Class rep has to maintain a certain image. So there are some books down by the side of his bed and next to his bed. And that would be his wall of glasses, but there's no glasses in this game. And also I was looking for, the search function is not very good either. So I just found some like metal and plastic bits and baubles to put on his desk. Not even close to glasses, but that's what we're going with. And we really quickly glazed over Ojiro's room and went right into Shoji's room, mostly because Ojiro's room is boring, and even the people in the show said so. And also, this room is a little boring too. It just basically has a pile of blankets and a little desk, like for sitting at on the like a mat. So I put a pet bed there. You saw me make this room already, and this is the take two of this room. This is after I decided to take a break and then came back and started redoing this room. So instead of, there's no pile of blankets in the game, so I just kind of overlapped a couple of cushions onto a coffee table, and we're pretending that those are blankets. This is Kirishima's room, and he actually has a lot of traditional looking art on his walls, which I thought was interesting, along with some kind of like almost punk kind of stuff. And I did want to try and keep that a little curtain above his balcony door, but I had to find curtains that went well with it. He's pretty flashy as well. He is the one who hardens, and so, um, he's pretty cool. He's Bakugo's friend, so there's that. And he has a punching bag in his room for exercising because that's his superpower there. So I just added in some fun, cool looking stuff for him. And you saw for a second there the rooms that I redid. We'll go back to them at the end. And I was just putting in wallpaper everywhere before I forgot. And so we could move on. So here we are in Sato's room, and he, is much more into cooking than everyone else because he needs sugar for his quirk. And he actually won the room contest because he gave out good things to eat during the competition. So he actually is the only one with a microwave in his room. Um, And so I gave him a little mini fridge too, because I feel like he'd need that. I was gonna look for something to hang or put up with it, but even with the cheats, things kept trying to snap into the wrong place. So we just pretended that wasn't happening and moved on with our lives. And then just some curtains before we move on. Todoroki is one of the few people who was able to actually renovate the dorm room in time. So with the tatami mats and the new door, and this was a very traditional looking room. So I did get to use a lot of the Snowy Escape stuff, which was great. And it's also a pretty simple room with a little desk. And also the walls were a different color than everyone else's room. I did size down that chair so that it would fit with that coffee table as a desk. So there is that. And now Sero's dorm. I'd put in these carpets. This dorm, I used a lot of jungle adventure and island living stuff for. It definitely went with the vibe of the room from the show. And I put in a different lamp and a different color chair. A few people had different color chairs. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely interesting that some of the rooms were so different. But, oh, and there I put a little ottoman as the hammock that is in that room, except um, we'll come back to that in a minute because I found something that looks more like a hammock, even though there are no hammocks in the game. As we move on to Uraraka's room, and she had a little fan, so I put the heater from Snowy Escape in there. And yes, there's what I found. It's really like an awning type thing, but I think it, sort of almost could look like a hammock if you squint. So that's what we're going with. And continuing with the standard issue desk. Some of the curtains disappear when you do half wall, like cutaway walls, but some of them don't. Don't know why, couldn't tell you. But this room has the cute little cacti in it. And this time, instead of going in order of floor, I just went in order of whose screenshot I had. So next is Jiro's room, which is super cool because she is a musician, and her quirk has to do with sound. And so I did get to put in a lot of fun activity items. I couldn't tell you if any of them are usable in this space, but lots of speakers, lots of stereos, lots of, microphone, keyboard, guitar. And then I was just looking for some cool things to put on the walls. I do change that in a second to that, which I think is way more her style. And yeah, so then I realized that I put Uraraka's room in the wrong place. So I just moved that. Well, I duplicated it and then deleted the old one because I did have problems with rooms completely tearing up the floor when I moved them. So we changed that and we moved on to Ashido's dorm. And she is one of two who like pink. Um, And so that was fun to use a different dresser, a different color chair. The curtains don't exactly match. Our curtains in the show are very heavy and kind of, gaudy. But I think that these still look good in the room. Also, I sized down that table and there's totally water outside of it, but we're pretending that's not happening. Um, so yeah, this is the first of the pink rooms. And the second is Hagakure. And she also likes pink a lot. It's actually kind of funny is I literally never said any of their names aloud, and now I'm like stumbling over them. But uh, she really likes pink. A lot, a lot, a lot. So even her desk is pink. And actually, this is the room when I was taking screenshots. I had to move a sim in, and this was the room that my sim decided to first go to, which I thought was kind of funny. My sim just walked right up in here, sat on this bed next to this big plushie, and watched TV. So she has some fun things hanging on her walls too. And then the last room belongs to none other than Yao Yorozu, uh, aka we're just going to call her Momo because we're friends like that. She is very smart and very wealthy, so she is the only one with a double bed, and it does not particularly leave a lot of space in the room, but I pushed it off to the side, even though in the picture it was kind of in the middle, because I still wanted Sims to be able to sit at the desk. So we are coming to the end here where I'm just fixing the windows that glitched out when I placed the bathrooms, and here we go. Here are the pictures from the anime, followed by pictures of my build. And, I hope that it sort of looks similar. Obviously, I included rooms that were not shown in the anime, so I just showed you guys the pictures of those. And um, yeah, so I got these pictures from the episode 51 and also from the wiki. So I will link both of those below. Um, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I did, even if it was a lot, a lot, a lot. um, but yeah, here is the floor plan for their rooms. There was 5 floors, but here are my floors, and you can build in the extra rooms if you want. There are plenty of rooms on the girls' side. Um, but yeah, I think that it went pretty well. They're not an exact likeness, but I think that they get the drift of each character. I'm a little bummed that we didn't get to see everyone's room in the show. I did start reading the manga, so maybe we'll see more. I kind of doubt it, but I think that it's up to our imagination. And I, built this on what was a cloudy sim day, so unfortunately, some of it is kind of dark, but I did not want to wait around for the weather to get better to post this. So I just went ahead with that. Each of these pictures is from the wiki. You can kind of see the details up at the top there. I included those details in my screenshots because I know I personally do not have everyone's name memorized. And so that was helpful for me. I hope it's helpful for you. I yeah, I definitely did not even remember a lot of people's names. I was like, ah, yes, the electricity guy. Actually, I did know Kaminari's name, but you know, uh, some of the more minor characters that we don't see as often, whose names I forget. So here's some of actually the builds that I redid. Um, you can see I replaced some of the things, not in this one, that one was boring, but in this one, I did end up redoing it to a more, darker aesthetic. And this one, I love how this one came out with the lights on, flashing, and the sparkly wallpaper and the lights everywhere. And then here is our main character and his action figure collection. Thanks for watching.